Benjamin, what are you going to be talking about this week?
Well, I'm going to be talking about the royals. Yeah, we almost made a whole hour on GB News without discussing them, but here we are. Now, I've often been called the wokest man in Britain, to which I say, please don't assume my gender. So as you might imagine, I always felt a strong affinity with Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, because I think a lot of what they talk about and their social justice agenda is good for the world, and it makes me proud that they were royals. But even I have lost it with Harry and Meghan now. This week, Omid Scobie, who is their mouthpiece, released another book called Endgame, which I think is about his career. And in a mysterious twist, we found that in the Dutch version of this book, it had been translated to include two names that we won't name, which are the alleged royal racists who asked about what colour Harry and Meghan's baby might be. What a nightmare. It must be horrible for Omid Scobie with a book to sell and falling interest that the world was having a row over these two names published in the Dutch translation. Obviously, I don't believe that for a split second. You know, you don't translate it and then add in whole new sentences naming two of the most famous people on earth. The truth is that we need to stop this double Dutch. Harry and Meghan shouldn't be using their secret mouthpiece of Scobie. If they want to name the royal racists, have the guts to do it yourself. Now, Emma, are you a fan?
No, I think the man's a complete grifter. I think you're right describing...
Is that me or Omid?
Two peas in a pod. I think that, you know, you said it yourself. He's a mouthpiece. The reason why I think certain people have been named, I think, is because there is a certain agenda behind attacking those particular people without naming any names. I think the whole thing is entirely transparent, and it's actually quite pathetic. I think it's quite sad. You said, you know, it's the end game of his career, but what an unfortunate title to choose for a book, because it's also the end game for Harry and Meghan. They've got absolutely no prospects. They've completely done themselves over because they've been so self-indulgent that even the people who like them, such as yourself, are now completely sick of them. And I think Omid Scobie, as much as everybody already thought he was a grifter anyway, I actually think he's embarrassed himself.
Yeah, I mean, it is very embarrassing. He says, I don't speak Dutch, so I can't be sure what was published in the translation. Names don't magically appear. No. It's just so
but that's also...
He denies this, of course, but it just seems completely
That's so indecent. It's dropping the translator in it, isn't it?
Yeah, and
when
she came out...
Yes, exactly.
And she said... Well, I don't speak Dutch, so I can't... Who knows what she said?
But she said that the names were in the draft, the English draft.
Yeah, I hope she proves it.
She didn't come up with it. Yeah. I mean, how would she know? She lives in, Rotterdam or something.
It's so obvious.
The people in question she would know, surely.
It's like a child lying, right? Because it's so transparent. So maybe he's not being honest to drop the translator in it. But surely,
says he's not had plastic surgery. I think we can all judge that one.
If it does come out that he did lie in order to drop the translator in it, which I'm sure the translator would be able to prove, then surely that's only going to add to those flames online, suggesting that he's lying about everything else as well.
Well, yes, indeed. And actually, it throws into question how much of this book we can actually trust.
Maybe he believes that he can just sell more books, the more outrage, the more...
Well, maybe it's a case of all press is good press.
The way things are going in this country, we're going to need to start burning books to keep ourselves warm. So there's one.
But, you know, the King has suggested in the papers this week that they might break that rule the Queen had, the late Queen, for so long, and they might actually sue. They might bring a defamation case. Now, that's public money. Do you think that would be justified?
Well, it's the money that the monarchy raises, and then the way that it works is the monarchy then provides that funding to the United Kingdom Treasury, which then gives back a certain portion.
But do you think that would be all right? Do you think they should start suing for these kind of things, or where do you draw the line?
I think it's not for me to judge whether or not they should or shouldn't sue. I think the issue with suing is it does suggest... if they sue, it does suggest that they think that the allegation, i.e. that discussing the child's skin colour and the way the child will look, is inherently a bad thing to do, and I think that would probably be misjudged.
I think if Harry and Meghan know that the royals are not allowed to take legal action on any grounds, I mean, that just, it's just like an open goal for them. They can just use the royals as a punch bag.
Well,
if they can't take, which they have, evidently. Of course they need to have the power to take legal action. That doesn't need to be on anything, but in severe cases where, clearly they've just been abused and abused and abused over and over.
It's also
They have to have some
taxpayers' money,
power.
not public money. Just
Well,
to call
indeed, yeah, there's no
Benjamin
such
up on
thing
that.
as public money. But actually, I would argue that they need to just let these people be as irrelevant as they are.
Completely.
Just leave them
Just
be.
go with her late Majesty.
Yeah, I don't think anyone takes them seriously
That's why
anymore.
Omid Scobie's shilling. Anyway,